Hi, I hope that you're doing well. My name is Alina, I'm a sleep coach, and this is my Sleep Talks channel. I recently was traveling to another time zone. I traveled to the US, and the difference between Europe and the US is around in California particularly, it was I think like 9 hours. And I know that many people who have insomnia um, would have this kind of like feeling or like worries around that type of events or that type of changes, and I had those worries back in time when when I had insomnia, and I know that just as just thinking about it can create worry and even trouble sleeping. So I just wanted to share my personal experience and share some thoughts how to cope with that change and how to approach it. And I think this will also be helpful not only for people who are traveling to a different time zone, but also if your country has this daylight saving thing. This can be also useful because many people around the time when they change, like when they go from winter time to summertime and back to winter time, they experience a lot of worry because they don't know how they will react to that, how their sleep will be, like if they will have like a speed bump, or if they will ever recover from it, or like a lot of worries around this. So I hope that you will find it helpful, and of course this is not a medical advice, it's just general ideas and thoughts. So the first thing I think that is good to realize is that it is not insomnia when we have trouble sleeping due to time change, because our body is used to certain rhythm, and when we make the change, even the slightest one, even if it's just 1 hour, then the body somehow still would react. For example, we might feel not sleepy in the evening, when we are usually feel till 11 p.m. and the body usually already feels okay, is ready to rest. But with the time change, it might be the opposite. We might feel more awake, or it could be that we might wake up early, due to that, because the body is used to wake up at certain time. And when that happens, I just want you to know that it is not there's nothing wrong about it, and literally anyone, even without insomnia, will experience some trouble sleeping, or they will feel not refreshed the next day, and this is completely normal. It takes time for body to adjust, and it will eventually adjust. So if you have worries that what if you will never recover from this change, I just want to kind of maybe do a quick test, that if you had insomnia for, let's say, more than a year, so that means that you probably already went through those time changes, then just think about it, has the last time change, not the current one, let's say, but the previous one, have you recovered from it? Did you get used to it eventually? And most probably the answer will be yes. And now, with the new time change, let's say, currently it is basically spring, and there is a time shift towards this summertime, and I know that there will be worries around this, and I want to just going ahead say that you will recover from this. Your body will adjust to that, and there is nothing, no specific actions that are needed from us to do that change, and the body will adjust automatically, because we all have plans during the day. Some people will go to work, some people will go to school, and so on. So the body will readjust based on the activity level during the day, on when they have to wake up, and so on. So maybe just a general rule of thumb is just to try to keep your schedule according to the new time. That means that if you're traveling, let's say, in a different time zone, and that let's say when I traveled to California, the first days I was just simply waking up at 3 a.m. because in my time here it was midday, and it was normal that I was awake. I didn't want to sleep, so and I didn't force myself to do, like to continue sleeping. So either I just relaxed in bed, or I was just starting my day at 3 a.m., at 4 a.m. So and I was just doing like just general tasks, like I could I was coaching, I was replying to messages and so on. And then when it was like evening, and I was already, I think afternoon, I was already feeling like more tired and so on. But for me, it didn't make sense to sleep at that time, because it was like day, I wanted to see stuff. So I was tired, but that was okay. So when the evening came, so I tried to go to sleep in a reasonable hour, not like at 4 p.m. or 6 p.m., but closer, let's say 8, 9, and so on. So like finding the balance between not crossing that border when we clearly feel like exhausted and we need rest, but also not like trying to chase sleep, because chasing sleep and trying to get the needed amount of hours usually counterproductive, and we end up sleeping less. So but eventually body gets adjusted to that. So by the first week I was already functioning properly during the day, and then at night there was no problem with sleep. So and this is valid for basically anyone, even people without insomnia. But now the interesting part is that when we have insomnia, we have that fear around sleep. We are going to react emotionally as well, and this is something very specific for people with insomnia. So we need to understand where those emotions, where those reactions come from, because when we try to prevent this, or try to kind of deal with the situation, sometimes we begin to fight with our emotions. We think that we are not supposed to feel anxious, we are not supposed to feel scared about the upcoming change, and this creates just more worry. So I just want you to know that any sort of change for our brain that is scared of something, any change will be perceived as a threat for some time. The brain is just sensitive to any sort of any sort of change in surroundings. So if it's just 1 hour difference, the brain will unintentionally start paying more attention, how you will sleep, whether you can do something about it, and so on. It will start sending you signals, and those signals are hyperarousal. It can be like some scary thoughts, it could be emotions, it could be physical sensations, but these signals, those feelings are automatic, and we don't really have control over them. So they just happen because the brain for some time felt like the need to protect you. It doesn't mean that the brain is like now trying to sabotage you. It's actually trying to do a good thing, but it is not really helpful in terms of sleep. So just realizing that if you feel worried, even just thinking about traveling somewhere or experiencing this kind of daylight saving change, it is normal to feel worried because of that change. Now, naturally, when there is a potential threat, what our brain reacts with desire to prevent this. So we might start thinking, okay, how I can prevent this, how I can protect myself against insomnia or against the speed bump. And I think that this question is not the right one, because it is normal to have that question, of course, and I also had that question as well, but I realized that it is not really helpful to look for the answer for that question, because we have very limited control here. And if you ask me, okay, how can I prevent this? Okay, I'm traveling somewhere, or I'm, there's going to be time change. How can I prevent insomnia or a speed bump? My honest answer would be, you cannot prevent this. And I know it sounds scary, but it's not really that scary in reality. The reason why we cannot prevent this is because, first of all, this time change, is inevitable. If you're living in a country where this change is happening, like the daylight saving, it will happen anyway, so you cannot really cancel it just for yourself. Or if you're traveling, you also cannot do anything with that. It's just the time change. It's beyond your control. Another thing is that we cannot control sleep. No one can fall asleep at will, not even the best sleepers. And the third thing is that we cannot control our this instincts like fight or flight, this panic mode. We cannot really control it right in the moment. We cannot just stop it at will. So when we try to prevent this, what it will create is more struggle, more worry. So the more correct or helpful question in this situation is that how I can respond to this. Because the truth is, you don't have to actually go through a speed bump. I mean, like, it's not that you will have struggles for sure. You might not even feel them that much or at all, but they can be. Just accepting the possibility that this can happen, and that's okay. It's understandable. There is no mystery around it. But now the crucial part is how we react to it. And our reactions, as I said earlier, they can be automatic. So that means that the part of us will react with this anxiety, with hyperarousal, and we cannot really, prevent it. We cannot, forbid ourselves to feel worried. We will feel worried in a certain way, especially if we just recently had trouble sleeping. So just accepting things as they are, and focusing on something that we have a certain sense of control there, because that part is really important, and it's really enough just to focus on that thing. So that part of our reactions are more conscious ones. So the first one, of course, is our behavior in terms of not forcing yourself to sleep. If you feel worried, or if you feel frustrated in bed and you're not sleepy at all, there is no point in pushing, trying to sleep harder or doing some meditations or breathing exercises. You can choose to do something more less pressuring, something that you feel like doing. You can get up, you can stay in bed, doesn't matter. It's just that not actively trying to do something about it. Then another good tool, what I find helpful is applying awareness and acceptance, and I usually pair them together, because I don't think that is that easy to accept something without being aware why that happens. So if you're super worried and I just tell you, just accept it, I don't think that it will be that useful for you, because you simply don't know what is it that you're accepting. But when we know that, where our emotions come from, what is actually happening to us, why our brain reacts in a certain way, and why we have trouble sleeping, then that mystery component is no longer there. And when we know what is happening to us, the thing that's been unknown becomes known, and it is way easier for our brain to accept the things that are known, the things that are more or less kind of certain. So basically, any education here will be really helpful. So let's say earlier I was talking about where those emotions come from, and all this the reality that our body will naturally feel somewhat confused with the time change. This kind of education can provide us this feeling that nothing unusual is happening, everything is normal, there is nothing wrong, things no matter how they are, there is nothing that is terribly wrong, and this kind of realization why and what is happening to us can allow us to be more accepting of what is coming, of our emotions, of things, of how we sleep. So this combination, awareness and acceptance. And then the third part is this kind of self-care, self-kindness, not pressuring yourself into something that you don't feel like doing, or pressuring yourself to sleep or stay awake until a certain hour or so on. No need for extreme measures. Always remember that you alongside the bravery, you also have this um, the self-compassion, self-kindness that you can use anytime when things get difficult. You can always, provide for yourself comfort and just, like self-care. And of course, like self-care includes also not judging yourself for things that are happening to you, because it's not your fault. If you have trouble sleeping, it is never your fault, because we don't have control there. We cannot be guilty of something that we don't have control of. So I hope that this quick overview of what is happening and how to approach this was helpful to you. Let me know in comments if you have any questions, or if this somehow resonated with you, and I will be really glad to to read them and answer them. And of course, we'll see you next time. Bye.